Hello, this is Michael Vermillion from JD Power, and welcome to the JD Power Travel Podcast number 3. Today I have with me Mike Taylor, who leads our travel practice at JD Power, and Jenny Corwin, who's our Chief Consumer Insights Analyst for the travel practice. So good day, Mike and Jenny.
Good day.
Hello.
So topic number 1, Mike, let's start with airlines. Recently in the news, saw a couple of news items, one about Delta, one about American. So the one about Delta is that the CEO is declaring that they're moving to free in-flight Wi-Fi, and that's potentially coming. And then at American, at the same time, we saw American raising bag fees and then announcing they're going to raise drink prices by $1. So what do you make of these two announcements or developments?
Well, the in-flight Wi-Fi is definitely something that's going to come to all airlines and airports as we know them. The idea that you have to sign in and pay $5 or $15 or whatever is going to go the way of the dodo, simply because people demand it. It also works a little bit in the favor of the economics of aircraft, which is if I have a Wi-Fi system that is up and running and people can access it, they can stream their own entertainment, do their own pastimes, such as doing emails or checking Instagram, whatever people do. And that makes the flight more enjoyable. And the aircraft doesn't have to have an in-screen or back of the seat entertainment system, which saves on the cost of the aircraft. And about 95%, 96% of people bring their own screen onto an aircraft, whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer laptop. So this is just the harbinger or the advent of the trend that's going to come to all the airlines, which is people are demanding that they be hooked up seamlessly, effortlessly, and all the time without any stopping to pay. And it'll just become part of the mainstream experience of your airline flight.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Jenny, next topic on hotels. So I recently saw some news where there was an article talking about the fact that hotels are seeing occupancy and demand soaring, but ADR is remaining flat. So any thoughts from the Consumer Insights Group at JD Power on why hotels are seeing this?
Yeah, I think the why is a combination of multiple things, and I know they really got into this pretty big in the hotel data conference recently. So the options are right: price transparency through OTAs, but also the increased shopping behaviors. I think the why is less of a concern as to the how to stop it and where the focus should be. Are we measuring the right things? Is occupancy the right focus for hoteliers, or should there be more of a concentration on ADR? Actually, which based on a lot of our research, you would say ADR is a little bit more indicative of whether or not you're attracting the right customer for what you're offering. So if you are in that rush just to meet occupancy targets and you're lowering your ADR in order to do that, you may be attracting people who are not going to be your loyal customers. They're not going to stay with you, and they may do damage to your brand overall by leaving negative reviews, or if they're not a match to what you have to offer, there's some risk there. So obviously there's benefits in terms of RevPAR, and hotel rooms are an expiring commodity, right? One night and they're gone. But I think that brands need to be really cognizant of that risk in terms of just trying to drive occupancy as opposed to making sure you're getting the right guest for what you're offering, which generally is a function of your ADR.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. So focusing on the right metrics is important for the hotels, the hotel brands. Mike, third topic on airports. One of the winners of the 2018 JD Power airport study was John Wayne Airport in Orange County. And they recently made some changes in what can be described by some people in the industry as a movement towards quiet airports. And so wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit more about what this means and how it impacted the voice of the customer and customer satisfaction results for John Wayne Airport.
Okay, well, the trend for all airports is, for the most part, probably 90% of them are setting passenger volume records every month, every year, sometimes every week. So it's sort of the old Yogi Berraism, which is nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. So they're trying to create more of a little island of refuge in that travel experience, making things a bit more calm and more peaceful. And we've seen that John Wayne, as you mentioned, which won our large category for the past 2 years, implemented several things to make their airport more calming to the passenger. The first thing they did was repaint it into sort of a taupe color or some kind of creamy brown that's rather soothing, or at least soothing to the eye. They took out a bunch of TV screens that were scattered amongst the terminal, or in the terminal, to reduce the visual pollution. They toned down the volume and the number of overhead announcements to make the airport quieter on a kind of an average basis. And that really helped a lot. We saw their rankings jump dramatically in our J.D. Power North America study of airports in the last 2 years. So they've been a winner for the last 2 years in a row. And that's one of the things that passengers are looking for when they come to the airport. I'm right now speaking to you from the Miami Airport Centurion Lounge of American Express, which is a little bit away from far from the madding crowd out in the terminal. And I'm on a little quiet corner here, which is relatively relaxing for the 2 hours I've got to spend before my flight. So that kind of calmness and a feeling that you're away from the hustle and bustle of what an airport looks like and feels like today is really craved by a lot of the passengers, and it's hard to deliver simply because there's just so many people in the terminals. But yeah, we see that as a definite positive for folks. The other thing that we also see in the data is that airports that are smaller and not growing as fast tend to have a little bit better score inflation, a little bit better scoring than the airports that are growing really fast, simply because, as you get more crowded, it's harder to negotiate the terminals. It's harder to read the signage because you're dodging people on your way to your gate. You're parking farther away in the parking lot because the parking lot is more full. So there's a lot of stress in a very busy airport and a lot less stress at an airport that's not so busy.
Well, because I'm speaking to you from a quiet corner of the Fort Lauderdale Airport, Mike, I agree with you. So, Mike and Jenny, thanks so much for joining us this week, and thanks to everyone for listening to the J.D. Power Travel Podcast. To learn more about the J.D. Power Travel practice, please visit us on jdpower.com/business, and we'll see you next time.